Next, Chad says, hello, Dutch and James. Of Puerto Rican descent, and I was wondering about Dutch's time spent there. What are your thoughts on Puerto Rican food and the native music salsa? Also, did Dutch ever learn to salsa dance? So apart from the wrestling and the fans and everything like that, what do you think of the island and the culture?
I love the island. I really do. I love the winter months down there because every day you'd get the weather report, and guess what the weather report would say every day?
Hurricanes.
86 and sunny, and that was like 106 y I forgot what sunny was, but they would you could
Just
just tape
caliente,
it.
basically.
Yeah, well, humidity was low in the winter. In summer, it really goes up. But great place. The food, the food was pretty good, decent. And then I learned to really like it. They'd have rice and beans, which is like the poor man's meal, but it was very good. The way they fixed it, oh, it was great. And the music, salsa, I never really took a liking to it because it's an upbeat Spanish thing. And I didn't know salsa had, different styles of dancing. But no, I never did do a salsa dance. I'm not a big dancer. So, but for the island, uh, so you can drive around the island of Puerto Rico in about 5 hours. You could start at one point in San Juan and go around. And it's like this. It's like a little, not a circle, but it's like a flat circle. And then 5 hours later, you'd end up right where you started. Or you could go down the middle and couldn't go through the mountains because it was really, really curvy. But but by and large, I really like Puerto Rico.
Just not the
They
wrestling fans of
are
the wrestling events.
well, no, the wrestling events were just different. When I went there, see, they thought the landing on the moon was fake and wrestling was real. That's what they thought. And back in the pre 1980, I started to like a year before that down there. There were a tough crowd, but when you got in that ring, you'd have to watch. They would throw everything. Sometimes they would throw beer bottles. So when they started throwing that, it was time to either get up under the ring or get your butt in the dressing room. But and they would also take the cups with ice and coke, and they would pack that down, which is like a rock. So yeah, I've been hit with all that stuff, but it was Puerto Rico to visit is great. Puerto Rico to work there in the wrestling business wasn't so great. The money was great because we were selling out everywhere. The money was great. I had my biggest week in the wrestling business in Puerto Rico. That week, and this is 1980 money. That week I made $4,600. So that today would be probably 20 grand.
Near enough. Sticking with the island itself, though, because obviously we know with the Bruiser Brody murder, and I think it was
Mm-hmm.
alleged at the time, and you could probably say yay or nay to this, that some of the infrastructure or the hospitals were very, very understaffed, and it was almost third world country. I think it was really wasn't very good. What do you think of like some of the other infrastructure in Puerto Rico? Was it lacking, or was it good? Was it were you able to live there comfortably and not worry too much?
Well, you could live there comfortably, but your electricity may go out because that was below par. And the the medical facilities, the doctors. They weren't the best, but they tried. The traffic was horrible. They didn't have any, very, very few 4-lane highways. It was always 2 lanes. So if you were going through the countryside to try to say get to another town like Ponce, they had like one road. Remember when I said you could leave this spot and 5 hours later drive all the way around? Well, you'd be driving what we would know as an interstate, what we call an interstate, but they didn't have. They had a 4-lane highway going, and you could. That's how you would get around the island in 5 hours. But there were a lot of things lacking, and if you got hurt in an accident at night around the San Juan area, because it had a lot of crime, you could very well die while waiting for them to actually see you. And which kind of Bruiser Brody, when he went to the emergency room that night, they tried just to get him in shape enough to go to a room, but he never left the ER. He went there, say, about 1 o'clock in the morning. And by 5 o'clock, even with them working on him, he died about 5 o'clock in the morning because they couldn't stop the bleeding. Now, if a emergency room can't stop the bleeding, it tells you one thing: it's a terrible cut or shot, and it was. Or the emergency room, they don't know what they're doing. But what I heard was that Bruiser took a lot of aspirin because he had headaches, and it thins the blood. So I guess when it's a big cut would come, it wouldn't clot the way it should to conserve the blood loss. And that's what he died from. He died from blood loss, I heard.
I never asked you this. What was your... Because I know you used to drink beer. So what were your beers, or what was the local beer in Puerto Rico at the time?
Corona.
Oh, they was doing Corona back then?
Oh, yeah, they had it in... Well, it's a Mexican beer. But they made it in Puerto Rico too. And actually it was very good beer. It was. So if I drank back then, which I did, I would drink Corona.